Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into lesson 78 from A Course in Miracles today.
Yes.
Let miracles replace all grievances.
Mm-hmm.
I am really looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't want to replace negativity with miracles?
That's a good point.
Right. It's a pretty powerful concept.
It is. And one of the things that's so interesting about this lesson is how it changes how we think about miracles.
Okay.
We tend to think of miracles as these like big splashy supernatural things.
Right.
But this lesson says, no. A miracle is a shift in perception. It's
Interesting.
about looking at things differently.
Okay, so not parting the Red Sea.
Right.
Internal shifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So before we get into that, though,
Yeah.
what exactly do they mean by grievances in the Course?
Yeah.
Is it like major complaints, or is it more than that?
Well, it's anything that we're holding on to that's, negative, like anger or resentment,
Okay.
bitterness,
Okay.
even just those little annoyances, that we all have. That kind of clouds our day a little bit.
Yeah.
And the lesson makes a point of saying that those grievances, big or small, they're barriers to peace and happiness.
Okay.
They keep us stuck in negativity and they stop us from having true joy and connection.
So like when I get annoyed that my internet's down again, that's a grievance.
It is.
Or like when a coworker interrupts me constantly.
It's just grievance, exactly. And the thing is,
Okay.
those little things, we think, oh, that's just a minor annoyance, but they can really build up
Yeah.
and affect our well-being.
Definitely.
It's like carrying around a weight.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel weighed down by negativity sometimes. But how do we go from feeling burdened by all these grievances to embracing miracles?
Right.
It seems like a huge leap.
It is a journey, but that's where the power of perception comes in.
Okay.
And this lesson really stresses that our experience of the world depends on how we're choosing to see it.
Okay.
It's like we're wearing a different pair of glasses.
Oh, I like that.
Right. You're looking at the same world, but your experience of it is completely different.
Okay, so instead of focusing on what's wrong,
Yeah.
we're actively choosing to see things through a more positive lens.
Compassionate.
Yeah, but how do you do that in real life?
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to say, choose miracles, but
Right.
what about when you're dealing with challenging situations or people?
Yeah.
People who really push your buttons.
That's where it gets really interesting. And this is where the course actually gives us some tools to work with.
Okay.
One of the exercises it suggests is called daily miracle practice.
Okay.
So every day you pick 3 grievances that you're holding on to.
Okay.
Could be anything from a minor annoyance to like a deep resentment.
Yeah.
And then for each one, you replace it with what they call a miracle thought.
Okay.
It's like an affirmation
Oh,
that directly counters that negativity.
So if my grievance is that my partner never remembers to take out the trash,
Mm-hmm.
my miracle thought might be, I appreciate my partner's effort in other areas.
Yeah.
And I can gently remind them about the trash.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not denying that the problem exists.
Yeah.
It's just shifting your perspective.
Right.
So that you're choosing to see it through understanding willingness to work together.
So we're interrupting that cycle of negativity
Exactly.
and kind of choosing a different path.
Yeah.
So by
Yeah.
practicing this miracle replacement,
Yeah.
we're training our minds to focus on the positive, even when things are tough.
Yes. And there are other tools that the course suggests too.
Oh, are there?
One that I find particularly powerful is gratitude journaling.
Oh,
Now, I know this might sound a bit cliche.
you have my attention because I love practical tools,
Okay, good.
especially when we're talking about something as profound as choosing miracles.
Yeah.
So how does gratitude play into this whole concept?
Well, gratitude is all about shifting our focus to the positive.
Okay.
It's about recognizing and appreciating the good things in our lives, even when things are challenging. And that shift in focus has a huge impact on our perception.
I can see that when we're focused on what we're grateful for,
Yeah.
it's hard to get bogged down in those grievances.
Exactly.
It's like they lose their power over us.
They do. And gratitude journaling takes it a step further.
Okay.
Because you're actually taking the time to reflect on those moments
Okay.
where you chose miracles over grievances.
Yeah.
And writing about those experiences not only acknowledges them, but it reinforces that positive behavior.
That makes sense.
So you're more likely to choose miracles again in the future.
I'm starting to see how this all ties together. Like we're retraining our minds.
Yeah.
And by practicing these techniques,
Yeah.
we're building up our ability to choose miracles, even in difficult situations.
Exactly. As we delve deeper into this lesson, we'll uncover even more insights and tools that can help us on this journey of replacing grievances with miracles.
This is already so insightful. I'm eager to keep exploring, but I also want to give our listeners a little time to digest everything we've covered so far.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll be back soon to continue our deep dive into Lesson 78, exploring even more practical ways to bring these principles into our daily lives. Welcome back. I don't know about you, but that last part about grievances and miracles really got me thinking.
Yeah,
It's a challenge
it is.
to shift your perspective like that,
You-
especially in the heat of the moment.
You're right. It's not like you suddenly become a Zen master who never gets upset.
Right.
It's about really building a new habit,
Yeah.
new way of approaching life's challenges.
So how do we actually do that? How do we go from
Right.
understanding it intellectually to living it?
Yeah, well, one of the best ways is through stories.
Okay.
Hearing how other people have actually used these principles can be really inspiring.
Oh, I love a good story.
Yeah.
I find that real-life examples really help me grasp concepts more fully.
Yeah. Do you have any story?
I do that show this miracle replacement in action.
I have a good one. It involves a friend of mine. Let's call her Sarah.
Okay.
A few years ago, Sarah was going through a really tough time in her career.
Oh, yeah.
She felt overlooked and undervalued at work, and it led to a lot of resentment.
Yeah, that feeling of being stuck in a toxic work environment can be so draining.
It is, and Sarah was letting it consume her.
Wow.
It was affecting everything, her mood, her relationships, even her health.
Oh, no.
She was constantly complaining, blaming others,
Yeah.
just feeling like a victim of her circumstances.
So how did she turn things around? Did she end up finding a new job?
She did, but that wasn't the first thing that happened.
Okay.
The real turning point came when she started studying A Course in Miracles
Okay.
and came across this lesson.
So the idea of replacing grievances with miracles really spoke to her.
It did, and she decided to actually put it into practice.
Okay.
So instead of focusing on her frustrations
Right.
and blaming her boss,
Yeah.
she started looking for ways to shift her perspective. For example, she stopped complaining about the lack of recognition she was getting.
Right.
She started focusing on what she enjoyed about the job
Okay.
and the skills that she was learning.
So she was choosing to focus on the positive even when things felt negative.
Yes, exactly. And it wasn't about pretending that everything was perfect
Right.
or denying how she felt.
Okay.
It was about consciously choosing to focus on a different part of the situation.
So what happened? Did things magically improve at work?
Well, it wasn't like an overnight transformation, but there was a shift in Sarah's energy and
Right.
her outlook.
Okay.
By focusing on gratitude and finding the good,
Yeah.
she felt lighter,
Okay.
less weighed down by those grievances.
Gotcha.
And that internal shift actually started to affect her external reality.
Wow. So she changed her internal state, and that influenced what was happening around her.
Exactly. It's like they say, change your thoughts, change your world.
You mentioned that Sarah eventually did change jobs. Did choosing miracles play a part in that?
It absolutely did.
Okay.
By shifting her perspective and focusing on gratitude, Sarah started to attract new opportunities.
Interesting.
She saw possibilities that she hadn't noticed before,
Right.
and she had the energy and the clarity to go after them.
So miracles didn't magically solve all her problems,
Right.
but they empowered her to create a different reality.
Exactly. It's about realizing we have a choice.
Yeah.
We can feed those grievances and let them control our thoughts and feelings,
Right.
or we can choose to cultivate miracles,
Right.
shift our perspective, and
Yeah.
create a more positive reality.
This is really inspiring. It's a reminder that we're not just victims of our circumstances.
Right.
We have power to choose how we see the world
Exactly.
and how we respond to it.
Yes.
I have to admit, though, I'm still wrestling with how to apply this in really tough situations.
Uh-huh.
Like when someone betrays you or hurts you,
Yeah.
is it really possible to choose miracles then?
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of what the Course is teaching us about forgiveness.
Okay.
It's not about saying that what happened was okay or pretending it didn't hurt.
Right.
It's about recognizing that holding on to anger and resentment hurts us more than anyone else.
So it's about letting go of those negative emotions for our own well-being, not necessarily for the other person.
That's right. Forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves.
Okay.
It's about freeing ourselves from that prison of our own negativity.
I get that. But I imagine it's not easy.
It's not.
Like, it's one thing to know that forgiveness is good for you,
Right.
but it's another thing to actually feel it.
It is, especially when you've been deeply hurt.
Exactly.
Forgiveness is a process, and it takes time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it means getting support from someone,
Okay.
like a therapist or a spiritual advisor or a trusted friend.
So it's not about denying our feelings or suppressing our pain.
No,
It's about finding healthy ways to deal with it and move towards healing.
that's it. And that's where the real transformation happens.
Yeah.
It's not about pretending everything's perfect. It's about choosing to see things through love and understanding,
Right.
even when it's really hard.
I'm starting to see that choosing miracles in these tough situations is about more than just positive thinking.
Yeah.
It's about aligning with something deeper, a truth of compassion and forgiveness that can really heal those deep wounds.
You're right on the money. It's about tapping into a power that's bigger than us.
Okay.
A power that can help us see past our limited perspective
Yeah.
and experience real peace and healing.
This is so insightful. Before we get too carried away with the big picture, though,
Okay.
I want to bring it back down to earth for a minute.
Yeah.
Are there any practical tips or strategies that can help us
Yeah,
when we're struggling to choose miracles in those moments?
absolutely.
Oh,
There's one technique I call the pause and choose technique.
okay. Tell me more.
It's pretty simple whenever you feel triggered or overwhelmed by negativity.
Right.
Just pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what would it look like to choose a miracle right now?
So we're creating a space to make a conscious choice
Exactly.
instead of reacting impulsively.
That pause can make all the difference.
I like that it's like giving ourselves the space to step back from the emotions
Yes.
and connect with that deeper truth of love and understanding.
You got it. And the more we practice this, the easier it gets.
Okay.
It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes.
Okay. It's all starting to click for me. Choosing miracles isn't about denying reality.
Right.
It's about approaching life with love and understanding and compassion, even when things are tough.
Yeah.
And it's about strengthening those miracle muscles
Exactly.
so that choosing love becomes more natural,
That's beautiful the way you put that.
even in those challenging situations.
And as we keep exploring this lesson, we're going to uncover even more tools and insights
Okay.
that can help us strengthen those miracle muscles and create a more peaceful and fulfilling life.
I can't wait to keep diving in. For now, though, let's give our listeners a chance to absorb all this.
Yeah, good idea.
We'll be back soon to wrap up Lesson 78 with more practical ways to apply these teachings in our everyday lives. Welcome back to our final part of this deep dive into Lesson 78.
Yeah.
I feel like we've really been on a journey with this idea of replacing grievances with miracles.
It has been quite a journey. And,
Yeah.
as we wrap up, I want to make it clear that this isn't a passive thing.
Okay.
It's not about just wishing things were better or ignoring challenges.
Right.
It's about actively changing how we live our lives.
So we're not talking about toxic positivity,
No, not at all.
like just pretending everything's fine.
No, it's about seeing things as they are,
Right.
the good and the bad,
Yeah.
but choosing to approach them differently
Okay.
with a mindset of love and understanding,
Right.
willingness to see the good even in tough times.
Okay, so it's about choosing a more empowered response,
Exactly.
even when things are hard.
Mhm.
But how do we actually do that?
Well, one technique that I find really helpful is what I call the reframing technique.
Okay, what's that?
It's basically consciously shifting how you look at a situation.
Okay.
Instead of dwelling on what's wrong, you challenge yourself to find a more positive interpretation.
So like if I miss my train
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna be late for a meeting, how do I reframe that?
Instead of getting frustrated,
Right.
you could see it as a chance to practice patience.
Uh,
Maybe you use that time to catch up on emails.
right.
Or listen to a podcast you've been wanting to hear.
So you're finding the silver lining even when things feel frustrating.
Exactly.
It's about turning it into an opportunity for growth.
Yeah, and it might not always be easy to find that silver lining at first, but with practice, it gets easier.
Okay.
You train your mind to focus on possibilities.
That reminds me of affirmations.
Yes.
We talked about those earlier.
Uh-huh.
How do they fit into this idea of choosing miracles?
Affirmations are powerful tools for changing your thoughts. And beliefs, they're positive statements that you repeat to yourself
Okay.
to reprogram your mind for positivity.
What kind of affirmations would be good for this lesson?
You could try things like, I choose to see the good in every situation,
Okay.
or I am surrounded by love and support,
Okay.
or I am capable of healing and forgiveness.
Yeah.
The important thing is to choose affirmations that resonate with you.
Right.
And to repeat them often.
So by repeating these affirmations, it helps us internalize them
Exactly.
and make choosing miracles easier even when things are tough.
It's like you're rewiring your brain
Yeah.
for a more positive outlook.
This has been so inspiring. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of what it means to choose miracles.
That's great to hear.
It's not just a concept, it's a way of life.
And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
There will be times when you slip up
Right.
and those old ways of thinking come back.
Okay.
But that's okay. It's part of the process.
It's about progress, not perfection. It's about being kind to ourselves and continuing to choose love.
Yes, even when it's difficult.
That's a really good reminder.
And as you keep going, know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
There are so many people out there embracing these teachings and supporting each other.
It's like we're all in this together.
We are.
Choosing miracles one step at a time.
And creating a ripple effect of positivity.
Beautifully said. The real miracle is in how our hearts and minds change.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration of Lesson 78.
You're welcome.
May you continue to choose miracles in your own life and inspire others to do the same.
I hope so too.
Until next time, keep diving deep and keep choosing miracles.